Stick it. Hi, everyone. It is Friday, which means it's time for Paint and Slay. I am V. Above me is Lauren. And today we're going to have some fun painting a couple of Githyankies. We're going to get painty today if you saw the social media posts.
I love it.
But
I
we're
love
gonna.
it.
I this is me after a very long week. I get punny. But we're gonna be painting up these two Yankee figures. They are from WizKids D&D Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures line. They come primed ahead of time. But before we get into putting color onto these very pale pair, Lauren, what do we have going on with the game for this week?
Well, let's start with the reason that we're doing Githyanki, which is Lae'zel has joined the champions. That's right.
Yay!
She may disapprove of the things you're doing in Baldur's Gate 3, but she will approve of you putting her in your formation. You can unlock her right now during the event, Agaron's Day, going on right now. So definitely jump on in. The event's only been live for like 2 days. You still have plenty of time to unlock her and get plenty of loot to level her up. And then, have Vital Champions on one screen getting yourself all kinds of fun stuff while you're playing Baldur's Gate on the other, because why not? Oh yes, and there's the Mind Flayer Lizelle
Uh-huh.
version with us, the Intellect Devourer, which is quintessential scary cute.
It's awesome. I'm very
uh,
happy with that.
I will continue to say, so our chat has been lovely. Our chat has been wonderful. Don't take this as you've been anything but. But it's been good to remind everybody, especially since we're going to be probably talking about Lae'zel a fair bit. We're going to avoid spoilers for Baldur's Gate 3. So I know you're all pretty excited about talking about the
Yes.
things you've been doing in Baldur's Gate 3. So try to avoid spoilers because some of us aren't that far in the game.
Hi, it me. I'm the problem.
I was thinking about me, but there you go. But anyway, you can get Lae'zel in the game right now. Do we have the weekend
I
buff? Oh,
do. I did. I did the thing. I did the thing. There it
oh, I trust that you do the thing. I just don't ever remember what the order is. Also, thank you to Belswin for the lovely gift
is.
subs to everybody. If you got a gift sub from Belswin, make sure to say thank you. But yes, this weekend is Rising Darkness weekend, which, I think is very appropriate for BBG and Krull and Miria
Mhm.
and Makos and Jamila. So, and also this
Absolutely.
chest, which is, I love this
I
chest.
I'm a fan of this chest, like big time.
Yeah.
It's also like I'm sure the fact like my favorite color blue is in this chest helps,
Mhm.
but quite frankly, it is such a cool looking chest.
It's real cool. It is. It's so evocative with very little to go on. Maddie knocks it out of the park every week, but
Yeah.
this one especially. I know that we've got fans who collect these chests in the game and just have in their inventory one
Hmm.
of all these chests so they can admire the art, which I think is absolutely amazing. And kudos to you for having the strength
Right.
to not open those chests. This would be one that I would definitely be like, this one is super
This
cool.
one, this,
Yeah,
is it a chest or a mimics his art? Demissive. Demissive?
it's both.
It's yes. It's yes.
It's yes. Yes.
It's yes.
You know what? The only way you're going to find out is to open it up. And you can
Yeah.
do that once you get the newsletter, which should be coming out in the next hour or two. I
Soon.
mean, it's rolling out. It always takes a little while to get out to everybody. You get one newsletter a week on Fridays that includes a code for that weekend's gold chest. So you will at least have one chest that you can look at and look into the eyes and say, are you a chest or are you a mimic? So if you have not signed up for our newsletter, please do. That way, every Friday we can send you loot. And
Yay!
I think the only other thing that we can talk about is something that just went live. I think it's super duper live. I'll
Is
say
it?
this
I
while
didn't.
I'm triple checking right now, but
Okay.
I'll also say thank you to Gabe, who is our moderator in chat, who's going to be grabbing questions from chat. So if you do have any questions, put question in big capital letters, and the wonderful Gabe will grab it, put it into a little backstage document. And that way, as we're painting up these Githyanki, we don't miss it. And yes, so
It
if
is.
you
Okay.
go to our YouTube or hey, if you go to our TikTok, I know we got a TikTok, or if you go,
It's
nope,
actually.
that's not the command for that. It requires an S because we have more than one social. There it is. If you go to one of our social medias, you will see a little video up about the next emergence that's happening next week. Mind Flayer
Ooh.
Emergence is coming. If you've never participated in an emergence event, it basically means free play is going to be infested. I'm going to go with infested with
I like that.
mind flayers. That's right.
Yeah.
And what more appropriate thing for Lae'zel to be introduced into the game than the week that she's got to take care of a lot of mind flayers.
Hmm.
So yeah, all you got to do is play the game. There's nothing special or extra special you have to do. Just as you're playing in any free plays, there'll just be mind flayers that'll show up, and when you kill them, they will drop corrupted gems, which you can use in the Thayan Enclave to get all sorts of really cool loot, including some unique skins and the pots, which I just always think of as frog pots, even though that's not the name of them. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So check out that video. Check out the there should be a blog up that has all sorts of information on just those events in general. And enjoy just going after all the mind flayers starting on Wednesday.
Excellent. Also, I'm seeing in the chat that we're having some echoing issues. The fun thing is Zoom did an update
Yeah.
right before this started. So I'm having to tweak settings and everything. Like it actually like completely screwed up my microphone. So appreciate the heads up that things are going on. I'm doing what I can on the fly to fix things. I just tried to adjust some audio things, so hopefully, Lauren, you're not echoing
Was it me that was
as
echoing, or was
much.
it you that was echoing, or was it both?
I think it was Lauren that was echoing, as
Okay.
someone said. So yeah, bear with us. I'm
Yes,
echoing.
Zoom decided it had to update,
V
which
is
is,
echo. How would I be echoing?
I don't know. Also, Rough Rider
Lauren echo V
1995,
correctly.
if you go to our Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms YouTube, it's a short that you're going to be looking for because, sometimes we don't need an entire several minute video in order to announce that something cool is happening. So it is live. I just confirmed it. So head to the shorts for the Idle Champions YouTube and it should be up, or go to our TikTok.
Okay. Just did a couple more things audio-wise while Lauren was vamping. Is that
I,
better?
I've gotten pretty good at the vamp. I'm pretty good at it. V is fixed. V sounds
Okay.
better. Much fixed.
There we go.
How about me?
Okay.
Am I still horrible?
I just said you were echoing. I didn't say you were horrible.
I mean, listen,
Okay.
I have every confidence in myself as a performer, but nobody wants
There
to
we
hear me
go.
twice in a row. Good.
There we go.
Thank you. We will.
We appreciate your feedback because sometimes this is stuff we don't know until you pipe up and let us know it's happening. And again, yay for
Yeah.
automatic Zoom updates.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that all being said, let's jump into the Gith guys. I'm trying to find a good focus.
The
for
Gith folks.
The Gith folks. So yeah, we're basically going to be using these two. Now these come in a pack together from WizKids. Again, it's the D&D Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures line. If you take a look, I already opened it up, obviously, so I can't show you the full package. But it's this set from WizKids. As you can see, you get two models. One is showing off two scimitars. One is holding one scimitar. And if you're interested in getting this and you go to your local game store and they don't have it, just give them this particular code here. It'll help them order it just a little bit faster and know which one you're talking about. Now, if you don't have a local game store near you, you could always go over to dndmini.com. That is where you can find all the official D&D WizKids related unpainted miniatures. And I do believe we still have that code floating around, which is Save and Slay Og for 10% off. So you can use that on your purchase. Anything you purchase from that site, you'll get 10% off. Just a little heads up on that one. But yeah, we're going to jump into this, and we're actually going to be dealing with a far more concentrated palette than we have been for a lot of minis lately. It was actually funny when I was pulling the notes together. I was like, wait, we can't have, that doesn't seem like enough paints, because I've gotten so used to us having like 20 paints to work off of.
Or just having the entire kit. Just Lauren, just have the whole
right
kit
there.
nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Can do.
Yeah, so we're going to be working with a more limited palette. However, all the colors are still from the D&D Prismatic paints, which again, you can find from WizKids, and they're Vallejo-based paints. So if you have Vallejo paints, chances are you'll see some of these paints, but do be aware that in the Prismatic paints, there are some exclusive paint colors in those kits. And you can tell when the names come around. Things like, Black Pudding and Illithid Skin and things like that. Yeah, those are for those kits. But that all being said and done, we're going to start doing the, I like to call it the inside out approach. So you start with the innermost part of the miniature and work your way out. So basically, we're going to start working on the skin. So to start with the skin, you want to grab some bullywug hide as well as leather brown and mix it so it's more bullywug to leather brown. You're basically just trying to tone down bullywug because bullywug has this almost like lime green wannabe thing happening for it. So we
It's
want to
super
mute
cool,
it.
but it is
Yeah.
bright.
It's very bright. It's very, very bright. So I'm doing like
paper towels. There we go.
probably like 3 parts bullywug to, nope, that's gold, to 1 part leather brown.
Okay.
If you want some balance. And we are going to be painting both of these miniatures, so it's better to mix a little bit more than not enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
gauging right now. Hi, TTRP Gifts. Welcome to the chat.
Hello. I thought you just
Bells...
said you're Cajun. I was like, what?
I mean, I do like Cajun food.
You and me both.
Yeah. Although it's been hot recently, so I haven't really been in the mood for any hot foods. Bellsman asks, are we not posting minis in Discord anymore? That is my bad. It has been a weird couple of weeks, and I have been unable to keep up with posting the stuff for the minis so that you can all paint along with us. But I'm going to remedy that, I promise. But yeah, things got a little complicated.
Yeah.
Especially with, and I'll say this now as well, it's nice and quiet here for the moment, but there is a good chance that construction is going to resume on the apartment. For those of you who were around on Wednesday and saw that the lovely Mars took over for me on Wednesday, that was because the wonderful construction people were removing this window and replacing it, and there was absolutely no way I could be on stream at that time.
Yeah.
So this time they're doing the windows on the back part of the apartment, which means I won't have to stop streaming. It just means things might get loud and I might run away and close the door. So,
yep. Okay, so that is the swatch color of what I just mixed up. So it's gone from like a very bright kiwi tone to more of like a pea green soup.
Yeah, I think
again,
I'm there.
Trying to work with, and I did thin it out just a little bit too because these are smaller minis with lots of details. You don't want to go in with thick paint. And you're going to want a very fine detail brush for this point.
All right.
Because these are, well, they're minis.
This is the exact opposite of the fire giants we were just doing.
That's just it. We went from like this nice big fire giant to itty bitty mini space. Yeah. So I'm just going to go in and start putting this onto the flesh areas. And the reason why we're kind of working inside out is that it'll make it easier so we can do some detail works on the more finite bits with putting the paint color on and then dry brushing. And if it gets onto the higher layers, well, it's fine. We can go back over and paint over what might have slipped or that type of thing.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much of the how much skin was actually showing until I pulled them out of the package. I was like, oh, these are like,
they're
first off, they're ripped, basically. But they're like monk style. It's very cool.
Yeah, they work out. They don't skip any day. No day is skipped.
I mean, that pretty accurately talks about Githyanki for sure.
Right.
They are dedicated. I did actually see a question about Githyanki. Let me Legendary Dragon 75. Does anyone know what a Githyanki is? Excellent question. So okay. I was just figuring where I should start.
Yeah.
So way back in the D&D lore, there were a bunch of creatures that the Mind Flayers were using for food. And those creatures left. They escaped, they fought back. And those were the Gith. And when they all left and started doing their own things, some of them went to different places in the universe. So the Gith Zerai went in one direction and the Githyanki went in another. And specifically, the Githyanki went to the astral plane, which is a very weird place. Awesome, but weird. And they've kind of evolved into beings from the astral plane. And they are still dedicated to hunting down mind flayers wherever they can be found. Now, for those of you who've been playing Baldur's Gate 3, that is one of the big reasons Lae'zel is there. is, hey, that's a Mind Flayer ship. And this isn't a spoiler because that's literally in the first
It's the
minute and in the
first, yeah.
trailers. And the extra cool thing about Githyanki, beyond everything else, because they are real cool, is that some of them ride red dragons in order to fight the Mind Flayers. They have a deal with, I believe they made the deal with Tiamat.
I think so.
I think it was Tiamat. It's not just that they make deals with specific red dragons. They made a deal with Tiamat a long, long time ago to basically team up and help go after Mind Flayers. And that is why you see Githyanki riding red dragons and fighting Mind Flayers and being awesome together.
Okay, I'm actually, oops, sorry, that was probably really loud. I just took off my handle because this mini is so small and the angles are so finite. My handle's getting in the way.
Oh, is it doing the thing where it's trying to get...
No, it's not even that. It's just I can't see around to get to the parts I need to paint because the handle is turning into a visual block for me.
Oh.
So I'm popping that off right now. Also, when you're painting the skin, don't forget the feet.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten there yet,
bare feet.
but they're barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
At least these pair are.
All right, now I'm just trying to get around the chest straps.
Yeah, this is definitely like fiddly little details. So you're going to be doing most of your painting work with a detail brush for sure.
Mm.
So
At
heads
least,
up for those playing the home game.
At least these Githyanki, their armor, the gratuitous use of chest straps actually has some purposes. They're not just there for aesthetic awesomeness. They actually are holding on pieces of armor.
Oh yeah,
I mean, not that just gratuitous use of chest straps isn't a fashion choice. But in this case, there's actual armor going on, which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think... Oh, no, missed something there. I actually missed a peck. Wow. How did I miss...
Poor Gregory.
How did I miss it? Poor Gregory Peck. How did I miss an entire...
Oh God, is that connotated? I need to name the other one.
Oh, okay. So we need a movie that Gregory Peck was in that has someone else in it that we can name the other one, the other Githyanki in our team. Chat,
there we go.
Please, if you would please make some recommendations.
Y'all are good about that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely going to be out of my wheelhouse. I am not nearly enough of a movie buff cinephile in order to... I cannot play the Kevin Bacon game, even though I have a very low Kevin Bacon number.
Same.
I know we've talked about that before, but yeah, I am not very knowledgeable about movies. So when things happen of like, oh, who would you cast in this role? I'm like, an actor.
Yeah, a person.
Someone with a lot of skills in acting.
Right? Oh my God.
Let's see. Random nerddom. Gratuitous Chest Straps is my new band name, right? Is totally...
Go for it.
Yeah, totally like a punk rock band.
And watch, not a single one of them wears anything with a chest strap. That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's very punk, right? To call yourself a thing that then you do not display.
Uh-huh.
This tiny little face. God, this is...
Oh my goodness. This is little fiddly. Now you see what it's like. It's probably going to take 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Because they be wee.
And then especially after the fire giant. I kind of love the literal giant dichotomy.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm actually going to pull out my reading glasses for this guy. Something
I
rarely do.
Yeah, those of you playing the home game live or through YouTube, definitely make sure... This is a good reminder. Do what you need to do to be comfortable. Try to not hunch. And if you find yourself hunching, give yourself a good stretch. See if you can adjust your workspace so that you are comfortable, both because no one wants you to get hurt, but also because then you'll be able to paint more.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, if you need some reading glasses, if you need, you can't really see it, but I've got a ring light that literally is just right
Yeah.
here, which helps a lot.
Lighting is crucial. And sometimes, like, I don't usually wear eye stuff when I go painting. But these come in really handy, especially when you're looking at very small details on the humanoid minis. This helped me see the face a lot better than my eyes being like squinty squint. Especially because with the studio lighting and these being white right now, sometimes it's really hard to see what these suckers are actually detailed in because the white flares back into your eyes, which is ever so much fun. So yeah, and this is just, these are drugstore readers. I got the lowest level to work off of and purposely place them on the bridge of my nose down low. So when I look up here, I can see as I'm supposed to be seeing, and then just look down and see the details in the mini.
Nice.
And for what it's worth, I do have glasses and contacts that are just standard prescription for myself because your girl is nearsighted with astigmatism. Life is interesting without my lenses.
Life is impossible without my contacts.
Yeah.
Life is literally impossible. I am unable to function. I am so nearsighted. It sucks. I have Coke bottle contacts.
Yep. Like someone posted on Pinterest or something, one of those types of style things, and like, photos of what it's like when you have astigmatism. And I didn't realize that people, when they're driving at night, don't see the cross flare on lights. I was like, wait, you mean people don't see that at night?
Lots of people do not.
Yeah, I was floored. I was like, oh, I am shocked.
As much as we often complain about the ills of the internet, which there are many, stuff like that, I feel definitely helps balance it out because knowing, oh, hey, it isn't just me is so nice.
It really is.
Okay, are they wearing, so they're wearing
pants.
gauntlets.
They're wearing full-on pants, so you don't have to worry about the legs except just the feet.
Just the feet, but I'm kind of looking at the hands right now. They've got gauntlets and then wraps.
They've got like, oh wait, no, I take that back. Does this guy got ripped pants? Crud, this guy has ripped pants, sir.
Oh, you're right,
sir.
They're wearing like pantaloons. Maybe actually. Wait, what?
Like ripped. Hold on. Yo,
wait a
my
second,
dude.
Wait a second. These might be. Where's the back of the
Why? What? Hold
Where's
on.
the back of the box? Back of the box.
Okay,
back of the box is showing that they are yes. They're pants
so they put musculature
with bracers.
Into the pants.
I mean, if you're gonna work out like that, but yeah, the back of the box is not showing any skin on the legs.
These are pants, but you can see where my confusion jumped in because this is looking a heck of a lot like a kneecap and a thigh.
Yeah,
sticking out of the folds,
especially in the front. On the back, because of the way the folds go, that's a little more obviously a pantaloon. But on the front, it's like
the front was like, I beg your pardon.
That was going to be a very interesting, like, all right, well, maybe these are dragon riders, and that's why cowboys wear chaps, and that's why those kinds of pants exist. But nah, this is something different.
Okay, my headcanon just took it that Githyanki now have a Texan accent.
All right, I'm here for it.
Saddle up, partners.
I also just noticed
TTRP. Get us some mind flayers.
Everybody get on your red dragons now.
Yep.
TTRP gifts in chat. I remember this one DM that had a New York accent for all of his Githyanki. Yeah, amazing. I can see that.
Yep.
Dwarves get my New York accent in all of my games that I DM. All my dwarves are my really bad. This is my family's New Yorker accent. Hey, what are you doing?
Amazing.
I love it when, and you don't have to do accents or voices or anything as a DM, but I do love it if you're going to go for it to do the non-Western traditional, everybody's got to be a high elf and sound very haughty and be Lord of the Rings style of you can have characters like that, but then it's also fun to be like, yo, get in the spell jammer, come on.
Mm-hmm. Get your act together, kids. We gotta go.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a very cool sword.
Yeah, the swords are awesome. All right, so that's one Gith down with getting the flesh tone taken care of, the base color.
I'm
Gonna
still
shift to the other guy.
working, but I'm
Where'd it go?
almost there. I just got the feet.
Right in front of me. Okay.
Come here, toesies.
This little piggy went to market. This little piggy went to rock a brawl.
This little piggy rode a red dragon, and this little piggy did none.
Right?
And this one went
little
wee,
piggy
wee, wee,
cried,
all the
"Wee,
way
wee,
back
wee,"
to
all
the
through
astral plane.
Yep.
Yep. I was there with you. I love it.
Oh, God. There we go. Story time in the far realms. Amazing.
They will not turn into horror stories at all. No, the far realms, never.
A spacey Grimm's fairy tale.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm looking here at this guy. Same thing. He's got mostly wraps around his. Yeah.
I just got to finish this one foot, and then I will be there on the second Gith.
Fair. Trust me, no rush, because there's a lot of little bits of details going on around here.
And fortunately, the feet are pretty easy because I know we're going to be doing a different color on the base. So if I accidentally get
Exactly.
the skin color on the base, I know it's going to be fixed.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Okay, there's my first one. See,
Ta-da!
now I want to do all this with a Texan accent. I want to be, well, there's my
Yeah,
first
meanwhile, I'm like
Yankee.
lapsing into like the glasses are making me want to talk like a little grandmother. Don't forget, darlings. Make sure you do this before you move on to do that. Trust me, you'll thank me later.
If you're gonna go onto the material plane, make sure you pack a lunch. You always get hungry when you planes hop, and bring snacks for your dragon. I know that they like find their own food and everything, but it's always a nice thing to get your dragon a little snack there. Maybe they wouldn't growl at you so much if you were nicer to your dragon.
Right? I'm telling you, my Audie, he's so stubborn about this. He won't bring a snack along, and then inevitably, halfway through the trip, the dragon gets hungry, and then they have to take this detour.
Mm-hmm.
Last detour, they found a bunch of intellect devours, and that didn't end so hot.
And they taste awful. You know that they taste awful.
They're too stringy. That's the problem. They're too. You think they'd be soft, but it ends up if you cook them the wrong way, they just come out too stringy.
I mean, now I want to run this D&D game. I don't know about you, but I need this game to happen. Grandma Githyanki's.
Oh,
Grandma Yankees.
Granny Githyanki's.
Granny Githyanki. Granny, yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, God.
Hey, you know, it's always good to have these little weird one-shot ideas.
Right?
Just like tuck them in the back of your head and be like, oh, so you need a fun one-shot and everybody's game to play the same, lineage or class or something. Let me offer a few suggestions.
Chat's enjoying this too.
Please run this game. Yes. Oh, Gillen 2023. Would they be considered brain food? Yes, dragons, instead of eating their vegetables, they need to eat their intellect devours to get their brain food.
Their brain food.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of good nutrients and minerals, don't you know? Those synapses, they carry a lot of iron, apparently.
Yeah, we may hate the mind flayers, but that doesn't mean that we can't enjoy, using the stuff that they make and, using it against them. So go ahead and have
It's
a
all
brain
ethically
snack.
sourced, all said and done.
Is it really, though? Is it really? You know what?
That's like saying you bought farm fresh at Whole Foods.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, God, Whole Foods.
It's not exactly farm fresh.
Nope.
Came from a farm, yes.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone down a very interesting path today, and I'm not mad at it at all.
No, me neither. Me neither. I'm gonna work on this shoulder and think more about Githyanki grandmas. That's not armor? No, that's a shoulder blade. Okay.
Yeah, this is a fun game to play right now because of the details being so near each other.
Yeah, and this hat, that is it a hat or is that might be hair actually. I was
It's
assuming it was
hair.
a
Oh, that's
okay.
hair. Here, I can pull a quick rough image for you. That's hair.
Oh, with a circlet. Okay. I
Yep.
saw that band as the top of a hat on the
No, it's
first
a circlet around the
Githyanki.
head. Yeah, they both
Yeah.
have that.
Okay.
What does this?
That's
Oh, Queen!
what?
Freddie Mercury! That's what this pose reminds me of.
Oh, okay.
Gregory and Freddie.
Gregory
We're
Freddie,
done.
I'm here for it. I'm sorry it took me way too long to follow your train of thought. It's just like
That's okay. My train went down a very weird rail.
you said Queen, and when I finally realized you were talking about the band, what went through my head was I do want to ride my bicycle. But that's not what. Wait, what?
No.
What's going
Huh?
on? Why are we
What?
riding bicycles? Okay.
Queen.
Okay, so now I'm double checking. No, that's not a braid. Okay. I know these two have
They have
braids
like
down the
long braids
side of their
going down
face.
down the side of their face, almost like they've braided their sideburns.
Mhm.
Best way to describe it.
It's a look.
Oh my gosh. I can't unsee this now. Hello, Freddie.
I mean, maybe this is a Githyanki band.
Right?
And uh what better person to emulate than Freddie Mercury?
I
There's
mean,
it's always a good idea in my opinion.
I have thunderbolts of lightning looping through my brain.
Let me respond to something real quick.
Sure.
What? Typing. Mess Duval wants to know, question, who is your favorite character in Baldur's Gate 3 and what about your least favorite? Ooh, I don't know if I've played enough. I have sadly is the wrong word for it. I have watched more of my friends and my streamer friends playing Baldur's Gate than I have actually myself played Baldur's Gate. Also, now that Lae'zel is out, I can say this without worry, and you'll all understand. I've had to do a lot of research into these characters in order to be prepared for, say, the video to come out. So even before people were sinking well-deserved dozens and dozens of hours into the game, I'd been doing some hardcore research. So I don't know if I know all of the characters well enough to even pick one. I'm gonna cop out, not by saying who my favorite character is, but by just saying how impressed I am at the Dragonborn in the
Those
character
are
creator.
awesome. Yeah.
I think they look amazing. I love the variety of colors you can get. I love that you can mix and match the so like you pick your subrace based on the color of the dragonborn that you are, but then you can still change up the head frills and the spikes and the color and everything. You're not because I am a fan of that style of Dragonborn, which is kind of 4E and a little bit of 5th edition, where you can end up with just, hey, my mom was a this type of Dragonborn and my dad was this type of Dragonborn. And so I inherited their spikes and her, color, or I'm a rust color because it was these two different Dragonborn. So that made me super happy.
Yeah, it's definitely really cool. Watched my kiddo make a couple actually, Dragonborns, and they're great to look at. I definitely have a favorite character.
Oh?
Scratch! I'm sorry, it's stinking adorable.
Yeah. That's fair. I do want to get to the point where I see the owl bear.
Yeah.
I've been hearing a lot about that baby owlbear.
Yep, same. Hoping to get to that one eventually. I basically have left off with going through the crypt and kind of had to stop there
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
I'm a little bit
time.
behind you. I just got out of the ship and I've been kind of slowly exploring the area and
Mm-hmm.
making sure that I've got all of the systems down, I guess, because like yeah,
Yeah.
it's 5th edition D&D and I'm very familiar with that. But then also like it's a video game and so, it's all through the lens of a video game and I want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure um it's been a while since I've played any video game on the PC. I'm usually an Xbox gamer because I like sitting in my living room with the controller. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a
Yeah.
little bit for me to get used to.
Definitely makes a difference for sure. Do do do. Okay, so I think let me just double check this guy. Do we see forehead on this guy? Yeah, a little bit.
Do we
Just
see a
there's a little bit of forehead above the circlet on both of them,
Mm-hmm.
which I missed on the first round.
Oh yeah, me too. I mean,
So,
now that I know it's not a helmet,
right?
but
Okay,
first I
that's a
gotta
wee
finish
bit
this
better.
ab.
Mhm. Ebb.
Abs. Oh, that was a little messier than I intended, but that'll get painted over. That's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. That's
It's
just it. That's why we're
fine.
doing this inside out method, because if we stray onto other parts that we'll paint later, they'll be easier to be careful on those parts than in this part with the skin right now.
Yeah.
But I think flesh. Nope, I am lying to myself. There is more flesh to get.
All right, I'm gonna
Just
put
when
that
you
one
think
down. I
you're
took care of
done.
the headband on this one. Actually,
Hi. Hello,
I don't know,
hello.
maybe it's just the way my sculpt is, but on the one with only one sword, I don't see any flesh above the circlet. It looks just like
It might be your sculpt then. It might be like the way it fit into the mold. If you don't have it,
yeah.
you can get away with not doing it.
Yeah, I think I am not. Let's go back over here. Um Belswin, if you're having problems with wild offers, as far as I know, there are no current issues with the wild offer system. Absolutely put in a ticket if you're not seeing
Yeah.
any of that, because I have not heard of a known issue. And so uh absolutely let us know so we can get that fixed. Did I? Yes. Okay.
No hemi.
Uh Legendary Dragon 75 wants to know, is there a lot of content in the game Baldur's Gate 3 at the moment? It's $80 where I live. There is a
Yeah.
ton. Um, it's always difficult if people are asking, money versus time versus the whether a game is worth it for the money. I think that's a personal decision on everyone's part. So I can't tell you whether $80, whether that's good, bad, and different. But I can absolutely confirm it is an incredibly big game. It is
Mm-hmm.
very detailed. It has a ton of replayability simply because choices that you make have far-reaching effects on the game,
Yeah.
and so you can have vastly different playthroughs. So if it sounds like the type of game that you'd enjoy, if it sounds like your jam, you're gonna really enjoy it for a
Yeah.
long time.
It's worth it. It absolutely is worth it.
Let's see. Usenai wants to know, I have a D&D model that I am, realistically speaking, never going to get around to doing anything with. Listen, I have nothing but respect for for that moment of self-reflection of like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not going to paint this. That is totally fine. Does anyone have recommendations on a good way to sell or trade my set?
Facebook
Interesting.
groups. Facebook groups. If you
Oh,
do collect collectibles and miniatures, there are a whole bunch of different Facebook groups you can go and check out. The ones you want to get involved in are the ones that make you answer questions before joining. That is my
good to know.
guidance for you. Yeah. Um, or you could also try and do like eBay type of approach. Um, but honestly, yeah, I would recommend going into Facebook groups that specialize in hobby trades or D&D type of thing. They're out there. You have to search a little bit, but they are out there. Um, just as a bit of guidance. But yeah, definitely find the ones that make you answer questions. That means they take it seriously.
That makes sense. I mean, especially
Yeah.
nowadays with the way a bunch of the social medias are, um, knowing that the group you're going to be joining isn't going to be full of spam bots is always a good
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm. Or people who just don't follow up on their end with doing things, because that can be a
Mm.
situation as well. How are you doing with yours in terms of the flesh?
I think I'm done. I was just kind of going through and taking a
Sweet.
last little look. So, but I think
Awesome.
I got it all.
Okay, then we're gonna jump over to dead flesh, which I know it looks like it's a darker green, but really when you open it up, it's not the case.
Mm.
Sometimes the pigments like to live on the sides of a bottle and just sort of skew what the actual color is. As you can see, it's actually this color. Very different. So you're going to want that, and then we're going to dry brush the skin. Start with the mini that you started with, and then work to the second mini is basically my rule of thumb. You don't have to worry about thinning this paint because we're going to dry brush, but I am going to go in and dry brush with a more, this used to be a detail brush, with a detail brush that's sort of been flared out from use. These are great to hang on to so you can do more finite dry brushing on smaller minis like this one.
Makes sense to me. I'm just going to use
Yeah.
my smallest brush.
Itty bitty living space.
I'm going to
Just
be
make sure it's not the detail brush that has like a nice point on it, otherwise you might regret it later.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to be stopping at my friendly local game store tomorrow. Because we're stopping on the way to a friend's engagement party. They're doing a nice little outdoor
Aww.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they are also a fan of D&D. And so we're going to stop
Awesome.
and pick them up something. And I think I will take another look to see if I can find a
Mold
smaller
oil.
detail brush. Or Nuln oil. One of the two. It's actually been a hot minute since I've looked for Nuln.
Yeah.
Nuln.
Nuln.
Nuln, not gnome, Nuln.
Not gnome
So,
oil.
not gnome oil. So yeah, I'm gonna look for that, and I'm gonna look to see while I'm there if they've got the limited edition cover of Big Bees, the book that
Nice.
just came out. Because the alternate covers are always so gorgeous.
They really are.
And I
Boy,
know I
they are.
end up using D&D Beyond for everything, sure, but I like
Yeah.
having the pretty colors, and I especially like taking the book, and at least the first time I go through it, which
Mm-hmm.
this won't be the first time, but having a chance to like sit down on the couch and flip through the book slowly and physically have it in my hands, I really like that. So
Yeah, that is nice to be able to do.
so yeah, that should be.
Like if
Hopefully
I'm
we
running a
will.
campaign, I need to make sure I have pages I can flip through and turn and mark. It's just
Ah,
my comfort zone.
and I'm the exact opposite now that I've always, all my notes have been digital, all of my prep digital, all of that. I have D&D bookmarks out the wazoo. Like it's always
Fun.
been that way. This one.
So you can see that sort of smooths out the flesh tone, but it also helps bring out the details a little bit more when we do this.
Yeah.
And also because we haven't painted anything else yet, because this paint is getting glided onto other areas, I'm not as concerned because I know we can do cleanup work as we do other colors.
And now that we're doing this dry brushing, there is a surprising amount of detail in the feet.
Yes.
They are hardcore flexing that.
Yeah.
Those, not just the toes, but the ligaments and tendons on the top of the foot. Like, oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have mine sort of treating these as this is going to be wraps because the mold on these feet didn't quite ring true. So it's a little bit more smushed out looking. So I'm going to
Oh,
disguise that by doing wraps. That
that
way.
makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why I did
Also,
that on mine.
that makes sense. Also, I
Yeah.
appreciate the folks in chat who are like, "Hey, post your minis in the Paint and Slay channel, and let's see what you got, and let's see if we can make a
Mm-hmm.
trade." And yes, I do. I do every once in a while have to look at the pile of minis and
Right?
just be honest with myself, especially since I do not usually run in-person games and or games that are not theater of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Words today are hard. I don't
They
know why.
are. Agreed.
Today specifically, just real hard. But yeah, I've had to look hard at some minis and be like, okay, I'm just not gonna paint this. I know I'm not. So it's okay to give away. It's okay to do something
Yeah.
else with it.
I mean, I have like 5 boxes of unpainted miniatures, and that's not even truly what the full collection was before thinning things down.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There's a mini bust I've started painting, but because I've been like so busy the past couple months, I just haven't had a chance to keep working on her.
Mm.
So part is like, do I just randomly stream one Saturday night I have free to make myself actually sit down and keep painting this mini? Because otherwise I'm kind of like, I'm kind of tired type of situation.
Yeah, but if you've I totally get that. I've made a commitment to stream,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm going to go ahead and I'm
Yep.
going to do this. And yeah.
Yeah. Put my Twitch channel to actual use. And YouTube for that matter. Because then I can upload it to YouTube afterwards.
The tubes.
The tubers.
Let's see. Kvob says, question. I'm running my first in-person D&D session with friends tomorrow. Ooh, nice.
Fun.
Congratulations. After 10 online sessions and recommendations to make it a bit special. Running an Acquisitions Incorporated campaign. I mean,
Ooh, fun.
that's awesome. With D&D Beyond with Hero Quest board and miniatures. Ooh, okay, so my general suggestions that are not necessarily game specific, especially as the DM, the best way to make those in-person games special is to lean into all of the things that make the in-person games special. So do your best to try to have a place in where everybody can easily see each other. That kind of table. Get yourself some snacks. Have everybody bring snacks. Have everybody bring drinks. Plan more time before the game to chat, because I think we're all very familiar with the getting on to play D&D, but there's going to be like 15 to 30 minutes worth of catching up,
Yeah.
because these are your friends too.
Exactly.
That's one of many reasons that, like Children of Verte, our call time is a half hour before the show, because if we didn't do that, there would still be talking about our days and how we're doing once the show started. And once you're in person, there's going to be more of that energy. So definitely leave more time for that, and let people know, hey, I'm going to budget a little bit of extra time for us to just kind of chat and be in person. As far as specifically the game goes, I may pass that over to V, because all the stuff that I can think about would be like physical stuff, like minis and paper ephemera, and that is, like I've admitted, not usually my jam. But that would be, yeah.
If it's coming to terrain and minis, if you have a place where you can stage some of the terrain ahead of time, like if you have, seriously, just like a cardboard box you can place the terrain on top of to act as like a secondary table, if you will. And it's easier to move the terrain around for faster switcheroos. Or just make sure if you're doing terrain scene switches, you're like, okay, give me 10-15 minutes, go grab some food. That's why the snacks are actually very helpful. Go grab some food, come back, and we'll pick back up for the next encounter, that type of thing. But then also make sure you give yourself an actual break at the end of that break. Like, take 10 minutes to fix the terrain, take 5 minutes to go grab some food, and bio break type of thing. That will help things move along a little bit faster or a little bit more smoothly if you do it that way. Especially if you want to do a big like terrain reveal. definitely recommend just going to a hardware store and buying like those 2x2 flat plywood type of boards you can buy. And you can use that board. And if you have someone like help you carry that board in, depending on the weight of things, you can use that board for setup ahead of time. And like simple things like just put like a green cheap tablecloth from Dollar Tree onto the board to act as like grass if you're doing a forest scene, or get like a gray one for, dungeon. But that's a really fun way so you can like bring out a big reveal scene if you want to do something like that and keep elements of surprise. But yeah, just make sure you factor in a little bit of time for the scene changes when it comes to the minis. And also be ready for your players when you're dealing with a 3D environment in which they can move the minis around and like stack and move. It's not just gonna be like they walk across the floor. You need to be ready for things like they climb up the wall to get to this access point. So it actually does help to have a small 6-inch ruler. It doesn't have to be longer than 6 inches, but that you're going to find is really helpful when you start going on vertical and diagonal vertical approaches, so you can kind of keep true to how many feet they've actually moved. After a time using it, you get good at eyeballing it. I mean, I'm to the point where it's like I can look at it like, yeah, that's 6 inches. But that's something that is a really helpful tool that you wouldn't have thought about when you're using minis in terrain. Have that 6-inch ruler, because they're not going to just go across the grid map like so many people do with gameplay and just maps. They're going to start going vertical. They're going to start going, back and around corners. So it's just keep all of that in mind. That should hopefully help.
And I've one more suggestion for in-person play. Hey, y'all get to use real dice. Real dice are awesome. And so I'd make a big deal about everybody's dice, because everybody's probably gonna want to show off some dice. And if people don't have any special dice that they want to show off, maybe this is a chance for them to be like, oh, I'm looking for this color or this style. And now for the future, for like gifts and things. But definitely lean into the dice, because once you can roll dice in person, oh, it's so good. It's good.
So cool. All right, so here we have the skin all set and ready to go. Keep in mind, I am mentally keeping track of the fact this is going to get a brown wash at the end. So while this is coming off slightly brighter than what you see in the official art of Lae'zel down here, the wash is going to even that out. So don't be gun shy if you're like, this is a little bit cheerful looking for a skin tone. Trust me, when the wash goes on, you'll be glad you had that extra bit of brightness. Otherwise, it would look almost brown by the time you were done. Okay, so now we're going to move on to doing the wraps, which you can see are around the wrists, around the arms, around, well, in my feet. And there's also some wraps around the torso here, underneath the big old belt of armor type of thing. So see that's like wrap. So we're going to be painting those. And to get that going, we're going to take Stonewall Gray and dark flesh tone. And we're going to be using mostly Stonewall Gray. So 3 parts Stonewall Gray to 1 part flesh tone, basically to make a more muddied gray color for these wraps.
Okay.
For the base color.
And you said 3 parts Stonewall to 1 part dark flesh.
To 1 part dark flesh, absolutely.
Okay.
And I've got this big old grody cap on top of that.
Just making sure I heard that right.
You are correct, my friend.
I also saw Random Nerddom said, if you have the time and inclination, make something from the Heroes Feast D&D cookbook. I mean, yeah, if you are a person who likes to cook, I mean, you're already going to be the DM, so keep that in mind. Yeah. But if I agree, if that's your the time and inclination, my favorite in-person games of D&D usually involved around a meal. Usually we're like, hey, come on over and we're going to play for like 4 hours, and we're going to take a big long break in the middle and have some pizza or something. So that is always fun.
Absolutely. I'm going to thin mine out a little bit because it is thick.
Yeah.
And also it's fun to have things like, if you go onto YouTube, like you don't need to have Sirenscape or anything like that. Go and check out YouTube and literally just type in medieval tavern music or that type of thing, or fantasy roleplay music. You can get some really neat soundtracks just play in the background for you.
Yeah.
To sort of set the mood. And if you get a few of those playlists set up, like I have a playlist for combat, I have a playlist set up for forest, I have a playlist set up for town. And you can quick play those, and those help add some ambient factors without a lot of effort, honestly. Okay, so I'm going to go in and start using the little detail. I'm sorry, my dear. Rory is just living her bliss right now. I don't know if I can get her. She's too far.
I mean, it's the standard. Your cats are here to say hi. Oh, hi, kitty.
She's just curled up. Happy as a little clam.
Everybody in chat say hi.
Say hi to the roar bell.
All right.
So
I
here's
guess
the
I'll start with the
swatch.
arms.
Oh my gosh, this is like almost my color skin. Almost not quite, but so you can see it's like a muddy gray color.
Yeah.
So that's going to go on the
Oh,
reps area.
Mine needs a lot more watering down. Oof. I'll also go back to dice for just a moment.
Sure.
As like I said, I don't get as much of a chance to play in person as I would like to, but it's happened more often now in the last year. And what I have discovered is I am now the person who I'll bring a set of dice, but mostly what I bring are just a bunch of D20s because I enjoy using D&D Beyond for the math so much.
Oh yeah.
And to be honest, that's usually the annoying math is stuff that doesn't involve a D20. Everything else is the annoying math. But like rolling a D20 and adding one or two other numbers, not only is that usually easy math, but the D20s are the fun ones. The D20s are the moments that
chonky.
yeah. So instead of worrying about bringing like multiple sets of dice, I'll bring one set just so that I have a D6 on hand. And then the rest of my dice box is just D20s from all the other sets I have. And that way I get to enjoy these more dice. I have a lot of dice. I have more dice than I should. I get to enjoy it all in a way. And I can still use D&D Beyond for the hard math. Not really hard, but you know what I mean.
The more time-intensive math.
Yeah. That also works out better for pre-rolling because if it's a gauntlet. What I like to do in combat when I can, and I can't always, when you know your turn is coming up and you know what you're going to do, especially if it involves an attack roll or damage roll, is to just do all the rolling ahead of time. And so when it comes around to you, you can be like, all right, I rolled a this to hit. And if it hits, great, I got this much damage. And the fun thing about being in person is what you can then do is roll as if you've hit and then save the D20 roll to see if you've hit for when it comes around to you. Like, hey, I'm going to do this. Did I hit? Yes. Great. I've already done the math. It's blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I do that too. Especially like when it's like a bigger group of players. Like if it's over like 4 players, I will roll my attacks and stuff ahead of time in initiative just because it's like, okay, I rolled this. I know it hits based upon what I've been able to sleuth out or whatever. And it did this much damage and quickly describe how it looks. And then it takes a lot less time. That way. It's a fun little trick I like to do, especially to help the DM out.
Yeah, and it helps everybody get to the fun part. You know, like I said, the descriptions, the whether it works or not, you know, the sitting doing the math is never the fun part. Now, there are many a time in where as I'm doing that on the side and listening in on what everybody's doing, the person before me does something where I'm like, well, this is not what I can do anymore. And, you know, and that's fine. It happens. But that is one of the fun things about being in person is how you can leverage both sets of skills, at least for me, that I've learned from playing online.
Oh, absolutely.
And I just love rolling my big chunky dice. I am a fan of heavy metal dice, literally and figuratively. Yeah. Just it's so satisfying.
See?
Yeah.
Also, see? The feet and the arms going.
Okay, that's armor, that's a wrap.
We're done? Kidding.
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap, folks.
Belswin, I have a player that loves to back up until they are off the map every time. Listen, when you're a warlock with Eldritch Blast that can be like 500 feet away from people, sometimes you really want to be far away from people. I'm like, oh, I'll just be back here. Thank you.
Right?
My AC is 12. Don't come near me.
Hi, Squishy Babe.
If only my druid would learn that skill. But
Right?
no. But no.
Now we will go back in and do like the the strap, that's what I'm looking for. The strap that goes onto these bracers, but you see that there's wrapping underneath. It'll be easier to paint this like a full wrap, then go back in and put that streak of brown on, as
Mm.
opposed to trying to work around that itty bitty little strap at the top and the bottom of the forearm area
Okay.
that attaches to this. Because you see you have this armor bit on the front.
That's actually excellent to know because I was just kind of looking at that, trying to figure out what I was going to do, how I was
Yep,
going to
just
approach
paint
it.
the whole thing. Again, that's the inside out treatment. We're treating the things that are underneath everything first, so that as we work our way up, it's easier to get those finer details done with the other colors later on.
Dilettante FTW says, my son has a tendency to drop dice, and our gameplay is much more pleasant after I picked some inexpensive rolling trays. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And once again, there's a very satisfying sound. Like, and it doesn't have to be the fancy schmancy rolling trays that you see out there with the stuff. It can be, like I said, an inexpensive rolling tray. It's just something I do prefer the sound against wood. I do think that that's my favorite, but like I have a couple of I have one of those travel trays that just kind of breaks down, that's made out of a
Yeah.
felt, and that one has its own ASMR type joy, and oh yeah, it's so good. And then yes, also you don't end up with dice on, you're less likely to wind up with dice on the floor. I'll put it that way.
True.
It still happens. Sometimes you just get overexcited.
I mean, there's also those dice that are like made out of the same rubber as bouncy balls.
Mm-hmm. Or, you just roll it and it hits a weird corner
Right?
and
And
bounces.
bing!
It just happens. There's been a couple times where, even though when I'm playing online, I mostly roll on D&D Beyond, there are times where I will roll in-person dice. Like if I need to roll something and only let the DMs know what I rolled, or
Right.
I don't always, but death saving throws, I do like to roll physical dice. And yeah, there's been a couple of times where I'm like, I should just put a rolling tray nearby just in case, because those are usually high stakes rolls, and I don't want the dice to be like, ka-dunk, ka-dunk, ka-dunk. Well, it's floor dice now. It's gone forever.
Thanks for playing. See you later. Bye.
Yeah. Bellswin, I see Bellswin talking about, I want a Bluetooth dice that syncs with my computer. I have been a backer of that Pixels Kickstarter since it came out, or since they did the Kickstarter. And I know it's been a while, but also I think that Kickstarter happened right at the beginning of the pandemic, which just messed everything up.
Yeah.
So don't take this as anything like, I will wait as long as it takes for them to do exactly what they need to do, but I am so excited. Like every time they do a little update and they show the rolling, or they show the lights, or they show the app that they're working on, and I'm just like, I want it. I want it. I want it now.
Give me my precious.
My precious. And then I will go back to rolling all of my dice physically, because then I could still have the math done for me. Best of both worlds.
Amazing.
But yeah, that I think there's other companies doing a similar thing, but the Pixels was the one that I heard about first, and that I ended up backing, and it looks super cool.
It does.
I'm also very impressed by their backer updates that they do. And by impressed, I mean they go into excruciating detail.
Oh wow.
And for people who understand that kind of electronics, I think it's great. I don't understand any of it, so I just look for the pretty pictures. But I'm always impressed that they do it. There's always a whole section of of that email where I'm like, well, I'm glad this is here, but I will be scrolling over it. I'm sorry.
It's
I
like
am not an
message me and
electrical
show me the
engineer.
pretties.
Yep, like I trust you to do the electronics. I trust you to do the app.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about how to make those things. Let's go.
Fair. Completely fair. All right, I think I got
Mhm.
all of the wraps on this one. So you have the wrap around the torsos, the wrap around the upper arms, forearms, and the feet. I'm gonna go and do the same to the other. What you do to one, you do to the other.
Yeah, I think I got all mine as well, but I don't have any feet wraps. I don't think because you were talking about the one that had feet wraps. It was
Mm-hmm.
a mold thing.
Yep, and I just realized I missed some elbow space in here. Crud. Good thing I have that color still.
Dilettante also backed that Kickstarter. It was a very popular Kickstarter.
Nice.
Sorry for anybody that heard that.
Very
When the
carefully.
construction folks were doing these windows, the ones on this side,
Mm-hmm.
that included my office, they started from the, ironically, considering what we're doing right now, they started from the top and went down.
Ah.
And so before they even got to my window, one of the reasons I
Mm-hmm.
knew that it was coming was they were doing the third floor, and then they would pull stuff out and they would just drop it because, why carry it
Right.
all the way down?
Yeah.
We could just drop
Yeah.
it. So every once in a while I'll be like, oh, right outside my window, just pieces of falling debris.
Incoming.
Yep.
That's fair.
But
Surprise.
yeah. But they've got it blocked off and everything. It's not like it's a high traffic area. It's just on the grass, and
That's
yeah, I
good
could
at
understand
least.
not wanting to haul bits and pieces up and down. But it's always a little bit of a oh, okay.
What do?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Miss Thing. All right. Got my little
Livingston,
list
have a
there.
good one.
Ooh.
Have a good weekend. Thanks for stopping on by.
Safe travels?
Okay.
Sorry, I made that sound like a question. I got distracted painting. So safe travels, not a question mark.
I mean, that's okay. I didn't go into details, so I didn't read off the whole message. So I could understand being like safe travel? Hmm? Question mark?
Yeah, no, this was my painting and thinking at the same time and saying
Hmm.
things and being like, oh, wait, hold on, we're good.
All right. Come here, Elbow. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did we mention the one paint and slay we're taking off coming up in a couple weeks? Yet?
Not yet.
We should.
Because I figured we'd get a little bit closer. We can definitely talk about it now, but
Yeah.
I haven't been thinking that far ahead. So in a couple weeks, PAX Unplugged is going to be
No,
happening.
West.
Not PAX Unplugged, PAX West. You know what? In a couple of weeks, PAX
A
Unplugged is
PAX.
going to be happening, but that's many, many weeks. Whereas
Yes.
in 2 weeks, PAX West is going to be happening. And V and I are both going to be attending PAX West.
Yes.
The good news is we're going to have lots of awesome stuff to talk about once we come back from it, because there's going to be a bunch of people there who are awesome and cool things and everything. The bad news is there will not be a paint and slay on September 1st because we will be at PAX West.
Yes.
So we got Githyanki, week off, and then something.
Something we'll talk about next week.
something we'll definitely talk about next week, and Bellswin, I will definitely make sure to get that information into the Discord.
There we go.
So plenty of time. But yes, that week will be off. And that's the Friday of a holiday weekend, both in Canada and in the United States. So there's probably going to be just a lot of people in general. I'm not talking about CNE in specific, but a lot of people in general who are going to be oot and boot doing things. So hopefully the weather will be nice in your area and you can enjoy being outside. And If the weather is crappy, or if you're not interested in going outside, you'll enjoy some more Baldur's Gate 3 or Diablo 4 or Idle Champions.
Oh.
Well, and Idle Champions.
No, stop.
No? No. Oh, okay.
No. This.
Ah.
No, Hemi.
Oh, has this become a game now?
This has become he wants attention and I need to paint a small mini, and if he keeps headbutting me, there's going to be errors.
Mm-hmm. And your
Sir,
cat...
if you sit nicely, you can stay, but as soon as you start getting nudgy, you're going bye-bye.
Yep, these are colors that do not befit a cat.
And this just woke up Rory, who is now playing with his tail. This might get interesting for me real quick, folks.
Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
May the force be with you.
And also with you. I can't help it. Listen, 11 years of Catholic school, that gets ingrained in you.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Okay.
I told
hi,
you the story
Psychosis.
about
Welcome.
Hello.
Bellswin, you're taking a day off. Where's my fainting couch?
I mean,
Is it a couch or is it a lounge at that point?
I think it depends on where you've placed it in the home.
Ah, okay. I was thinking if you are one of those rich people that have a fainting piece of furniture.
That's a chaise lounge or chaise lounge or however you want to call it. That's definitely that's definitely a lounge. I'm
going to faint onto my lounge. I don't know. I guess I didn't watch enough Downton Abbey or something.
Oh God.
It's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head that I would know anything about that.
I learned a lot about furniture because my mom was an interior decorator. So yeah, there were books and things everywhere.
That makes sense.
As long as it's soft and it catches your fall, that's what matters.
This is true. Yeah, that furniture is not anything I have had need or reason to learn a lot about for good and bad reasons. But who knows? One of these days. I just need to run a D&D game that involves learning a lot about furniture. And then I will learn a lot about furniture.
All right. Everyone say hi to Hemi because he's about to go bye-bye.
Bye.
Say hi. Bye. No, he like scrunches up and hopes I won't move him, but oh my God. He's trying to headbutt my elbow and that's not working.
Nope. Now is not the time, my friend.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I hear you here. I hear you need a steady hand, Mom.
Mm-hmm. And you can't get too angry because you're on stream and I'm cute.
I mean, I can't get angry because he is cute.
Yeah, that's true. They get away with so much just by being adorable. And they know it.
Especially Rory. Oh, my Lord. Okay. All right. Telling you. These little details.
Well, if there's anyone who's going to know about the difference between a fainting couch and a chaise lounge, it is going to be an old English lady teaching and finishing school.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the quintessential expert on the topic. And if that's what they say, then I'm deferring to the expert.
My dear.
Oh, I was about to say, I think I got it all. And then just as I was about to say it, I saw a spot I missed.
There's a spot.
No, and now I'm crouching. Ah!
Crouching tiger, hidden Githyanki.
Yeah, I have to keep reminding myself when I crouch, when I'm like hunched over or crouching over my mini, that it's the same thing when you're playing a video game and you like lean when you want to move your character in a certain way. It's like, this is not actually helping. Your body doesn't need to do this. There are better ways to do this.
Unless you're
Please
playing
stop.
like Wii Sport type of stuff.
So I picked up, this was
Mhm.
about a month ago at this point, because a friend of mine had posted about it on the socials. Treadmill, but the walking treadmills that you get that aren't the big full ones, but you can
Mhm.
like slide under desks.
Yes, I've been
Um,
looking at those.
yeah, so before the panini, we actually had a full-size treadmill because we discovered that the best time to buy any kind of exercise equipment is February for
Hmm.
reasons of everybody's going to go for their New Year's their New
Mhm.
Year's
Resolution.
resolution to go to the gym or to exercise more, and by February people have decided nah. And so we were able to pick up a full-size treadmill for basically the price of get it out of my house,
Oh
and it
wow.
was awesome. And then the panini hit, and or not, I'm sorry, and then we moved here, and there was a gym literally a minute and a half walk away.
Oh
And
wow.
so I joined the gym and started going to the gym, which is great because now I have more than just the treadmill. I have a whole plethora of
Mhm.
things. And so we decided, all right, because we were both going to the gym. So we decided, all right, let's get rid of the treadmill because it was huge and it was taking up a
Mhm.
good chunk of this office, which
Fair.
is not as big as it looks. And then the panini happened and the gym shut down. And so since then, it's always been this hodgepodge of stuff. But then my friend posted about the walking treadmill, and it was not expensive at all. And so I went, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Mhm.
And it's been great. But I've been slowly learning what I can and can't do while walking on it. And I've discovered I cannot play video games on it, or at least I can't play video games that involve a character. I think I could probably play like Slay the Spire, like a card game
Right.
or something,
Uh-huh.
but I plunked that thing in front of the TV and I'm like, all right, time for some Diablo 4, and I'm gonna get in some walking. And the first time that I made my character move in like left, and my
Uh-huh.
body tried to do this, and I'm like, oh nope, I
Oh,
can't.
oh, oh
Nope.
no. No, no. No.
It was an immediate, I got a little dizzy and my brain went, this is no,
This is
don't do
not
this.
good. Yeah, this is not what
Mm.
we want to do. Um, okay, so
Oh
you should
yes.
have the wraps taken care of. So
Yeah.
what we're gonna do is go back to Stonewall Gray and dry brush Stonewall Gray onto the wraps now.
All right, where must Stonewall Gray go? There we go.
Yeah. And again, you don't have to thin this out because we're just gonna go right in with that.
Yeah.
And again, I'm using a more flared out detail brush to keep it in that little bitty space that we have going on. Blesses.
Whereas I'm still sticking with my flat brush, but it's working.
Yeah.
Dilettante FTW says, my son's piano teacher spends more time correcting his posture than she does his musicianship. And I'll say, as a fellow musician and a music teacher, that's absolutely 100%. I have definitely spent more time with some students correcting hand placement and posture and things like that, because the consequences of even short-term bad posture or bad positioning is pain. It's not just like, oh, I can't
You
play
don't
as
want
well. It literally is pain. It's how people get carpal tunnel in their wrists from playing woodwind instruments. It's how pianists get back issues. It's yeah. So
Interesting. Makes
it
sense.
is 100%. You do the wrong thing, and it's not just that gets in the way you're playing. It literally starts to cause pain. So
Eesh.
it is super important.
We're getting to that time in summer where the crickets are starting to come out. So I'm hearing the crickets chirping out my open
Aw,
window.
yeah.
And between painting this and hearing the crickets, I'm starting to zone out. So if I stop responding, I've
Just
gone
give
to
you
my
the
happy cricket place.
just give you the gentlest of nudges and be like, Via's gone to
Hi.
her happy place.
Yes, right? Hi. Oh, God. The zen of mini painting and crickets.
Yeah. I mean, I have construction equipment, so
That
if it
is that
helps, not really.
zen?
That's what's keeping me out of getting too zen.
Fair.
Loud noises. But yes, I especially the beginning students and or the young kids, it can be real hard when all they want to do is play and make music, which is totally understandable. And all I want to do is make sure that they're not going to hurt their wrists.
Fair.
And some kids are just more receptive to the idea of the long term than others. So sometimes it is a little bit of a challenge.
Kids and instant gratification? Never.
Well, and
Not at
oboe's
all.
already a hard enough instrument for that because after a year, most elementary school kids start like 3rd, 4th grade.
Right.
And after a year, your trumpet friends and your clarinet friends and your flute friends and your saxophone friends and your percussion friends, they all sound pretty darn good. Like they sound like the instrument they're supposed to be playing. And then you on the oboe still sound like a dead duck. And it's just because of
tricky.
it takes forever to learn to build up the embouchure you need to have the reeds be hard enough to get the good sound on the oboe. So it's 100% not anyone's fault. It just takes time. And because of that, I totally understand when, elementary school kids are like, meh, I can switch over to saxophone right now and sound better than my friends.
You got it. I mean, I went clarinet to oboe.
So
which
Mm-hmm.
That was a holy moly, what now?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is. It's a hard one for sure. K-Vob, yes, you're right. It is a double reed instrument. Oboes and bassoons are the two, and then the surrounding family of contrabassoons and English horns and but for the most part, oboe and bassoon are the two big ones. Bassoon, you can kind of start to get a good sound because the reeds are bigger and more forgiving, and the lower tone is just in general easier to have a pleasing sound. Bad tone when you are in a lower register just kind of sounds off. But I think we're all very familiar with a bad tone, but it's a high-pitched tone, and it's got those weird overtones that make the back of your neck do that. And that's what happens with the oboe. So
yep, a little less forgiving.
Oh, Bull's Revenge remembers their siblings' first few months of learning violin. Oh yeah, violin is extra painful.
I also just like, V is currently disassociating. Please try your request later. Thank you, Random Nerdum. Not wrong. Not wrong. Leave a message at the beep.
Yep.
Oh yeah, beep.
Oh, Random Nerdum was a viola player. Dilettante was a clarinet, switched to sax, then at the request of my high school conductor to euphonium because the orchestra lacked bass. That's cool. Belusk was a bassoon player during middle and high school and through college. Been 15 years now and I miss it.
Okay, this is really cool that we're getting a list of instruments.
Yeah, I love that kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm
so happy when I hear that people actually got the chance to play an instrument in grade school because it's such an important thing to just have the experience. Most people are never gonna keep playing those instruments once they get out of grade school, but just having the experience of playing an instrument and playing in a group and playing music is so, and I may be very biased, but I have science to back up my bias. It is so useful for young kids, for their development, for their social skills, for everything. So I'm always very happy when I hear, even if it's it's been 15 years and it's been a while, but I'm just glad you got the chance because I unfortunately know a lot of kids nowadays who their music programs are gutted and so they don't get the chance.
Yep.
Yeah.
My oldest is still playing his clarinet. The youngest did recorder, but I knew after recording, I'm like, okay, you got your year in. Instruments aren't your thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And sometimes
Yeah.
that just means you're going to go into choir and you're going to sing and you're going to have super fun singing. Like singing is also an instrument. I consider all those are musicians just as much as the band kids and the orchestra kids.
Oh yeah. I mean, God, I'd have to spend an hour warming up before a performance.
Yep.
It's a thing.
And then real quick, Belswin was trumpet to French horn. Banana Mobster, I played trombone for about 6 years. Embouchure was always being harped on, and if you played long enough, the shoulders began to ache a bit. Yeah.
Wow.
Trombone, that's a workout for at least one of your arms. Bull's Revenge was recorder, piano, clarinet, guitar, and the Fool. That's funny. Let's see. Double Crayon, fun fact, the violin has a very we're talking about it in Russian. Let's see. Yuznai was piano drums to French horn. That's a piano drum. That's an interesting switch.
Yeah. It's a journey.
Yeah.
What did I do with my detail brush?
What did you do with your detail brush? Also, I am.
Oh, there it is.
I've got the
seams. All right.
It's
so
obviously
good.
It's gonna be hard to see on here, but yeah.
Yeah. So this is kind of giving the bandages a little bit more detail. Now what we'll move on to are the pants. Yes, the pants that seem to be leg muscles showing through pants. So we're going to take the dark flesh tone again and mix in some Stonewall Gray, but this time it's more dark flesh tone than to Stonewall Gray.
Okay.
So we're keeping this more of a darker brown, but I want to mute it down just a little bit and not have it be this bright chocolatey brown. So I'm going to do 4 parts of the dark flesh tone and add in, I'm actually going to take, because I have some Stonewall Gray left, I'm just going to take a brush full of Stonewall Gray and move it over to my dark flesh tone.
And water, because it's thick.
And definitely water, yep. This just helps take a little bit of that. It tones it down in terms of intensity. It still keeps it brown, but it's just not, hi, I'm Hershey syrup. That's not what I'm going for.
Hi, your pants are making me hungry.
Right?
Chocolate pants. I also noticed Belsman talking about in my senior year I gave it up because I learned I couldn't read music, just memorize the sound. So interesting talk about that. And if I'm about to go off on a tangent that nobody's interested in, just say, hey Lauren, stop. Most string players in the United States learned the Suzuki method, which is they don't learn how to read music. You learn from listening to your teacher and repeating. Whereas most of the other instruments in the United States are taught through learning how to read music and are not taught about those kind of oral skills. And so what happens is both sets of students, if they go far enough into learning the instruments, say you go to college and you're going to be doing something in music, whether it's you're a performer or you're going to be a music educator or it's a minor or whatever. And then everybody runs into a problem. And usually the strings run into the problem first because you're expected to be able to read sheet music. And there's a lot of people who just never learned how to read sheet music. Yeah. And then a little bit. And so eventually the strings are forced to learn how to read sheet music because a lot of being, especially a freelance orchestral musician, but just an orchestral musician in general, one of the most important skills is being able to just take a piece of music that you have never heard before and you've never seen before and read down the sheet and get it performing quickly. That is a very important skill. So the string players struggle with that for a while, but then, they get it. And then a little later, it turns into all of us woodwind players have the problem because none of us were taught how to learn things orally or memorize things. And so suddenly you want to do a concerto competition or you need to memorize music for an event. And you don't know how to do that. And no one has ever taught you how to do that or taught you the different techniques on how to do that. And I'm speaking from experience.
Yep, I went through a similar thing vocally.
Mm,
In high school, it was you'd have the music, but you'd have the music playing. So you could learn the music while listening to the music, but you had to memorize it. So you had to memorize the
mm,
lyrics and everything and remember what the tune was, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and then when I went to college, I lickety split quick had to learn how to sight read because it was for orchestral chorus. So it's
mm.
like you have to be able to look at the sheet of music, and by that first round of practice, you can read the music based upon like sight reading. You may not know the full song, but you will have that with you the whole time. You have that sheet of music in front of you, even for the performance. Um, so that was a very interesting transition going from what do you mean you're not going to play the music first and we get to hear it first and hear how it all goes together and we'll get the lyrics, but then you remember, nope, nope, it was a
Yeah.
completely different setup. So, yep, very much remember that jarring switcheroo.
I mean, yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
When I was teaching private lessons in New York, there was every year and I think they still do it, and most states have something similar, uh, a big statewide music festival in
Mm-hmm.
where you'd go and you'd basically compete in a like a mini solo competition, and then the people who got the best grades were invited to go do the
Yeah.
all-state band and the all-state
Yep, they still
orchestra.
do that. Yep.
Yeah. And the competition has 3 parts, at least I think it's for all of them, but I can at least speak from experience from the woodwind side. You show up with a prepared solo, usually a movement of a concerto, usually. You have to play scales, so you have to know your scales, which are just
Mm.
scales. Yay. And then you have to sight read. They literally put a piece of music in front of you that assumably the student doesn't know what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
you get like 30 seconds to look it over, and then you just got to play it once. And the better you play it, the better you get. And there are techniques that you can learn how to sight read. There are things you can teach people that will help uh, when you sit there for that 30 seconds, what to do. And the more you sight read, the more you figure yourself out of like, I'm really good at getting the notes, but I miss the dynamics. I'm really
Mm-hmm.
good at getting the feel of the piece and the mood of the piece and, you know, looking at all of that, but I missed every single note that isn't on the scale, you know? And so, yeah,
Yeah.
there was a lot of that. And then, and the reason I laugh about assumably the students don't know, uh, I did with my students what my teachers did with me, which was when we would practice doing sight reading, they would pull out an excerpt book.
Mm-hmm.
So the Rothwell difficult passages, if you're an oboist and know what I'm talking about. And those excerpt books are literally just here's a big thick book of excerpts from classical music, from orchestra classical music that are important pieces for oboist solos, things, whatever. And they would just use that. And so I would show up, and often the sight reading was something
Was from
from
that,
a
right?
piece of, yeah.
Yep.
I had one teacher, I played through it, and then I got to the end, and this one adjudicator was like, you know what that is, don't you? I'm like, yeah, that's Beethoven's Third. Like, did you play that? Have you played that before? I'm like, no, but I've practiced this excerpt. I know this excerpt book. And so I taught my students in that same
Mm-hmm.
way. And
Mm-hmm.
my students, I had a couple of them come back from NISMA is what we called it, because it was the New York State School of Music Association
Oh, cool.
band competition. I would every once in a while have someone come back and they'd be all excited. And they're like, I recognize the sight reading. And I know that's kind of cheating, but I recognize it. I'm like, it's not cheating because you didn't pick the sight reading.
Right.
And you put in the work. If it
Right.
had been something that you didn't know, you knew how to sight read. So I'm not going to call it cheating.
Right.
But it was always funny.
It's cute. I got it.
Yeah. I couldn't remember what the piece was, but I looked at it and I'm like, oh, we practiced this. I did this. I know what to look for. I'm like, that's awesome. Hey, listen, if you know what to look for, then you've won sight reading. Like
Right.
that's Yeah.
Jumping in the whole music theory factor, there's styles of music. So when you get comfortable with a certain style of music, it helps you predict what's going to happen with another piece that is the same style of music. It's
Oh, for
definitely not
sure.
cheating. Absolutely not. It's getting your ear ready to anticipate and sort of predict
Mm-hmm.
where a piece could go.
Yep. I was having a very similar conversation with Luke about this recently because we went to see, and this is going to sound like I've suddenly gone on a tangent. We went to see the Barbie movie recently, and they listed all of the orchestral musicians in their credits, which is
Nice.
becoming more common, but not all the time. Which is why I always like to point it out and celebrate it, because when movies do that, it's still the exception and not the rule. And then we got into a very interesting conversation about like the role of an orchestral musician versus like in the credits, if they list a featured soloist, or if they list a, especially with movies that have been made in America, if they list a specialist who is playing a non-standard orchestral instrument, something from the Middle East, something from China, something that is not a standard Western orchestral instrument, they'll often list those because those are people coming in with a very specialized skill set. And so we got into kind of a fun conversation about the differences. Thank you for listening to my talk about music. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. If you... Oh, and I totally missed a question that Gabe grabbed.
Oh, dear.
It's not too long ago. Okay, I didn't miss it for long. K-Bob wants to know, what did Quebec do?
Oh, too funny.
We haven't had a chance to answer this question in a while. For those that don't understand the reference, whenever we have given away physical things, usually when we've done Idol Champions Presents special shows, we get a chance to give away fun stuff for our chat. Last couple times it's been awesome WizKids minis and big ones. Unfortunately, we always have to say United States and Canada, excluding Quebec.
Quebec, yeah.
And B-Dave, who I love dearly, has taken to saying, you can't, Quebec, you know what you did. The reality is what they did is there are some very strict laws in Quebec about being sent physical product as part of winning a thing. And more often than not, the people who win end up having to pay a lot of money to get the thing, even if it's something relatively inexpensive. So it turns into more of a hassle than a joyful thing. So we unfortunately exclude Quebec because we don't want to saddle someone with a hassle. That's not fun.
Yeah, there's some pretty severe legalities that you have to be aware of with Quebec, and it's just both for company and recipient. So it's just
And I think for the most part, they're good laws. They're meant to protect everybody involved. But I think they were also written with like bigger things in mind. Like, hey, you've won a car, and not you've won a WizKids mini.
Yeah, they're thinking Price is Right, less here's a $5 miniature.
Exactly.
But still, it's one of those things. It gets to be rather fraught, and hence you'll hear a lot. Actually, you hear a lot of groups say except Quebec. You'll see a lot of type of raffles, giveaways, style legalese. When you read through them, you'll see except Quebec, and sometimes there's a few other countries thrown in there. But yeah, that would be why.
Sorry,
since
Quebec.
we limit shipping. Yeah, we limit shipping to U.S. and Canada. That's kind of why it's just Quebec that's mentioned. But if it were international, there's other countries you're rattling off, and the list gets longer than those who are almost qualified in some cases.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons that whenever we do a giveaway that has a physical thing that we are giving away, we also run a giveaway for digital stuff so that everybody has a chance to win.
Yeah, try to keep it as balanced as possible.
Yeah. Man, it's been a hot minute since I've thought about that because it's been since
Right?
the.
You know what you did.
Yeah, you know what you did.
You know. These pants are interesting because they have some really deep pleats in them.
I was just noticing that as I take care of um the buttocks.
Mm-hmm.
The buttocks.
The derriere.
Um, Yeah, I haven't thought about Quebec, you know what you did since this spring when we had
Last
the Idol
ICP.
Champions Presents, yeah.
Well, actually, they were also saying it because Eugenio started in on it too for a familiar quest.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
you're right. Because
Yep.
they did have some giveaways.
Yeah, we had some really cool class dice from Beetle and Graham.
Well, Eugenio got to be in an Idol Champions Presents with B Dave, and so
Exactly. He
doesn't
jumped right
surprise
into
me.
it. He
Yep.
jumped right into it. He's like, and as B Dave says, Quebec, you know what you did.
What you did. I seem to remember that at one point, the wonderful Mark Hulmes, who is from England, had to have an explanation for
He
because
did.
he asked innocently
Yeah.
enough,
What did Quebec do?
"What did Quebec do?"
It was adorable.
And totally understandable. Just like
Oh yeah.
just like folks in chat, if you don't know, then yeah, it's a
Well, it
you
sounds
know.
menacing if you're coming into it not knowing anything, and there's B Dave. You know what you did. It's like, what did they do? I don't want to be in Quebec's shoes. Tell me what Quebec did so I won't be Quebec.
There you go.
Oh, God.
Oh, is that's armor.
That's a
That's
fun game to play right now, right? Is that armor? Is that pant?
yeah, because they're doing the thing in where the armor isn't necessarily symmetrical, so they've more
Uh-huh.
at least this one that does the pointing has more armor
Yeah.
on one leg than the other.
Yep. We'll just take our time with this.
Yeah. This will just be the thing that we get done before the end of the
Exactly.
show.
This will be our wrap-up bit, is completing the pantaloons.
The pantaloons.
They kind of have a pantaloon-like feel to them.
Oh, 100%. The
They're a little blousy.
bushiness of
Yeah.
them. I mean, I am in no way an expert on pantaloons. However, Orkira has a fondness for them, and so
Yeah.
I have learned enough. Poke, 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 poke. Dilettante, yes. Codename Entertainment is in the wonderful Victorian era.
What?
Yes. They're in Victoria, yes. Let's see. I'm just catching up on the things that I missed out of in chat. Also, hi, Full Squeaky. Welcome. Glad you could join us, even if it's just right at the end. We're just finishing up Githyanki. Yay.
Mm-hmm. My goodness. All the angles.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they definitely have uneven armor,
Yeah.
which is a style choice for sure.
Like
I
there's
wonder if
this
it's
interesting dip in the shins that
yeah.
caught me off guard with the first one. Haha, shin guard. No pun intended.
I would like to think that there is a reason beyond it looks cool.
I think it's just to tap into the Githyanki aesthetic.
Mm.
You know?
The unevenness of life.
They seem
It's a philosophical choice.
looking at the various reference photos of Githyanki art and what have you, they seem to have more of this almost organic fluidity to their armor lines. So yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna need to get up and walk around a little bit after this episode.
Yeah, me too.
Oy.
But it's nice to change it up after a couple weeks of the big chunk, the big chunky guy.
The biggin.
And actually, I'm thinking about something since we're towards the end of the show, which is sad, but hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. We do have Formation Save coming up after us. I know Formation Save has been off for a couple weeks because Sean has been enjoying a vacation, which I know he's been talking about on a couple of his streams that he's had already. So I'm sure he will continue to enjoy regaling y'all with his exploits. Which is basically just he went to a bunch of conventions and he had a lot of fun. So that is coming up right after us. So stick around for those of you who haven't had the joy of watching Formation Save yet, because I know we've got some new folks in the chat. Our community manager, Sean, sits down and literally takes formations that you at home submit and basically ask, hey, how can I make this better so that I can get through this thing? So if you're stuck on an adventure or a variant, you can actually submit your specific game, your champions with your gear. There's instructions in the chat for how to do that. And he can pull it up and put it up on the screen. You don't lose anything. You don't have to worry about anything. And then he'll offer suggestions on like, okay, since you've got these champions and you've got this gear and blah, 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 why don't you try this, this, and this? And he'll actually try it and see if it's better. So it's a lot of fun. And that's a lot of Githyanki.
It is. All right. So this is going to be our stop point. We're stopping at the pants. Next week, we'll pick back up and get some more details going with the pants with some dry brushing. And then we're going to move into the armor and the weapons. And we'll be doing the hair and the base towards the end. Spoiler alert. But yeah, join us next Friday for that one. We'll have some fun with this. Don't forget, if you haven't yet, get into the game and get yourself Lae'zel, the lovely Githyanki, as seen in Baldur's Gate, but also now in Idle Champions. And there's also this really cool Mind Flayer Lae'zel theme pack, which comes with us, the Intellect Devourer. I'm sorry, that's just too much fun. You can check that out in the in-game shop. But yeah, definitely get in there and get Lae'zel added to your formations because it's fun, yo, and it's cool. And then it is Friday, which means it is the weekend, and we have our Darkness Rises weekend starting up for our weekend buff. If you've signed up for our newsletter, that means congratulations. If not yet, soon you will be getting the free gold Rising Darkness chest, which, yes, I'm loving the art for this one on that one. It's so cool. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, just log into the game. We have this lovely little spot. You can sign up right then and there and get yourself on the list once a week. Once a week, unless we have to tell you something really important. We will send you free stuff.
Yeah, the times that we send a second newsletter in a week, I can count on one hand.
Yeah, it's very, very rare. So yeah, just keep that in mind. That's also going on this weekend. And then next week, there's going to be more fun here for Paint and Slay. Stay tuned for Formation Save. Gabe, again, thank you for all your help today.
Yep.
We had a lot going on. And I think that's pretty much it.
And also, Wednesday, it's going to be Mind Flayer Emergence. If you want to see a little tease about it, go check out our TikTok and go check out our YouTube where you can see the short that is going to talk about Mind Flayers. But yeah, Wednesday, Mind Flayer Emergence.
Get it done. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.